here. You could even make one big one if you wanted to. The sort of technique stays the same no matter how you're packaging it in the end. So the first thing that we're going to do, and how many people are actually cooking along with me, just so I know how to pace myself? Okay, great. So you should have your graham cracker crumbs in crumb form already. You have that? Yes? Okay, great. So I didn't have pre-made graham cracker crumbs, just for everyone's information. I took 8 sheets of graham crackers in a Ziploc bag, and I just went at it with my rolling pin. I could have used a food processor, but I kind of decided for that quantity of graham cracker crumbs, it was going to be more effort to take the food processor out of the cabinet and wash it than it was going to be to just bash it with my rolling pin. So that's what I did. So we've got our graham cracker crumbs, and I have 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And we're just going to pour that right in with the graham cracker crumbs and give that a good stir. And what we're looking for here really is something that's sort of the consistency of wet sand. So you just want to give it a good stir and get your graham crackers kind of moistened with the butter. And once you're there, we're just going to, because we're not baking this, it doesn't really matter if it's, you know, sort of really packed firm. What you're going to do once you have your butter and graham crackers mixed together is you're going to take your jars or bowls or whatever you're using, and you just want to spoon a couple of tablespoons right into the bottom. Okay, and you could leave it like that. I sometimes like to take my hand and just sort of press it down a little bit to make it, give it a little bit more firmness to resemble a real graham cracker crust, but that step is optional. So that's what you want to do first, is you're going to take all of your different jars, or all of your same jars if you're more organized than I am. And again, just a couple of tablespoons into each one. This one I can't actually put my fingers in to pack it down. All right. And obviously, the smaller the container you're working with, the less you need. So you just want to cover the bottom, sort of crust-like. And I'm just going to do one more and then move on to the next step, but you should feel free to keep working. And again, if you wanted to take just a regular, you know, 9-inch, 8-inch or 9-inch pie plate and press all of this graham cracker mixture into the bottom, that would absolutely work too. All right, are we good? All right. So the next thing that we're going to do, unless if you wave like crazy at me, I will pause for a minute and let you catch up. But I'm going to assume that we're okay. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your 1 cup.
Can you just wait for 1 sec, actually?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get the graham cracker.
Do it. So I'm going to talk, as we go along, I'm going to talk about a few different ways that you can sort of customize this recipe. And the first thing that you could do if you wanted is sort of change up the crust. So rather than using graham crackers, if you wanted to take this cheesecake into the chocolate zone, Rabbi Jaffe, I feel like you always ask me for a chocolate version. So I'm telling you, you could use Oreos, you could use chocolate wafers, if you wanted to make a chocolate crust. The other thing that you can do that's sort of fun and delicious is you can add some ground nuts with your graham crackers. So you could do ground almonds if you were going to make your filling, which we will get to in a minute, more sort of tropical. You could use macadamia nuts, you could use coconut, anything sort of toasted and then ground up in with your graham cracker crumbs would be really, really delicious.
That sounds great.
So I'm going to just get started just whipping some cream. So we're going to take 1 cup of heavy cream. It should be pretty cold just because it makes it easier to whip. And I'm going to use my very ancient hand mixer. And all we're gonna do is whip this cream until it's fairly stiff peaks. You wanna make sure you're not over whipping it, because I don't know if anybody knows what happens when you go too far with whipping your cream, but you end up with butter, which, while we all love butter, that's not what we're going for here. So I'm just gonna whip this on high until it gets pretty stiff and thick. I'll just say that ordinarily I would do this in my stand mixer with the big balloon whisk attachment because it's much quicker, but then I would have had to leave you all. So one more minute and we'll be there, I promise.
All good. And if Fran wants to show us hers, or Leslie as well, we'd love to see your progress. How's it going? So Suzy, while you're doing this, maybe you can tell us when does it look like it's starting to turn into butter? When is it too much? Oh, nice, Fran.
All right, Francine, how's yours coming? So this is what we're going for. So it's hanging on to my beaters, and it's
Okay, mine's almost, okay.
yours is almost there.
Well, it's there. It's kind of butter, not buttery, but yeah, thick.
Okay, good. You're good. So we can put that to the side, and you want to grab another bowl. You can use the same beaters. You don't have to clean them off at all. And into our new bowl, it's going to go 8 ounces of plain cream cheese. That is ideally at room temperature. I've got 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of sour cream.
Oh, sour cream. I forgot the sour cream. Okay. I can't open this.
All that in there. I've got 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So this is one of the flavorings you could absolutely.
What did you have again? You have the cream cheese, the sugar.
Yep. Cream cheese, sugar, 2 tablespoons of sour cream.
Oh, sour cream, yeah.
And I'll wait, no problem.
Okay, where'd the sour cream go? Okay, wait.
Yep.
Asking her. Suzy,
Yeah.
so all this stuff that you're saying now, I kind of missed it because we were mixing. This stuff is being added to the cream, or is being done in a separate bowl?
In a separate bowl. So you put your whipped cream off to the side, and we're going to be folding that into this mixture as our next step.
2 tablespoons.
Okay, so we've got, just to review, we've got 8 ounces of cream cheese, 2 tablespoons of sour cream, 1/3 cup of sugar. I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And you could go sort of crazy adding all different kinds of flavorings here. So if you wanted to do almond extract instead of vanilla extract, that would absolutely work. You could whip some Nutella into this. You could, what else could you do? You could add some lemon zest if you wanted to make a lemon cheesecake. You could whip in some freeze-dried berries that you grind up, would be really, really delicious and also give it a really beautiful color. The possibilities are almost endless. So all that we're gonna do here is combine these ingredients and whip them together.
Mix this up. Oh.
Really just looking to achieve a very smooth,
How much do you mix it in?
I'm sorry?
What's the consistency of the cream cheese thing?
So I'm gonna show you. We're really just looking for kind of a smooth texture. So you wanna make sure that you don't have any big lumps of cream cheese. I probably could have whipped mine a little bit longer just to get a little more air into it, but it doesn't matter too much because the next thing that we're going to do is fold in the cream that we've whipped. And I like to do that usually in 2 or 3 additions. I think I'm gonna start out with half of my whipped cream and I'm gonna kind of blob it right in here. And if anybody took my olive oil mousse class, you'll remember this technique. We're gonna fold it in, which basically means that we're gonna take our spatula and sort of cut into the middle and literally fold the mixture over. So we don't really wanna stir it because that knocks out a lot of the nice air that makes this very light. We don't want a super dense cheesecake here. So I'm just gonna fold this. So again, I'm sort of cutting into the middle and folding the mixture over on top of itself. And when I feel like that is pretty well incorporated, I'm gonna add the other half of my whipped cream. I'm gonna scrape it all in there. And fold the rest in. How's everybody doing? Are we good? Okay. So, as I mentioned, you could really take this a lot of different places with flavorings. And then, as I mentioned, you could sort of change up your crust, you can change up your filling. And then the next thing that we're gonna do is put this into our jars and add toppings, which are optional. If you're an absolute cheesecake purist, you might decide to leave this as is. But I have some berries hanging out over here that I'm gonna put on top, but you could certainly do some chocolate shavings, particularly if you added some chocolate to your filling. That's always a nice garnish. You could give a little dollop of Nutella on top. You could add more whipped cream to the top if you wanted to. You could flavor whipped cream. But I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. So I'm going to take one of my containers. Give a couple of blobs is certainly the technical term that I want to use. Okay, and you want to smooth it out just a little bit.
Suzy, with the consistency here that you're making, would this work outside of a cup as well? Like if you wanted to use this inside of a pie pan?
Yes, absolutely. You could do it in a pie pan. Because I start hearing all of my culinary school teachers' voices in my head. I can't help myself but to clean the edge of my serving dish. Okay. I hear you, Chef Ted. All right, so then you're going to continue to do that with all of your containers. You don't have to do what I'm doing. It's a compulsion, I admit it. And then you're going to add whatever toppings float your boat. So I've got just some mixed berries here that I'm going to put on the top in a layer.
Did you ever see?
Yeah.
There used to be a skit on Saturday Night Live with Phil Hartman called The Anal Retentive Chef. Do you watch?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, you identify.
Exactly. So there you go. And you can do this part ahead of time. You could add your toppings just before you serve it. And again, this would be really pretty with a little bit more, oh look, it's still so messy, with a little bit more whipped cream on top. But that's it. Easy as, dare I say easy as pie? No, but really super duper easy. And that's it. And then if you put it in the fridge for about a half an hour, it'll firm up just a little bit more. So it'll have a little bit more of cheesecake consistency and a little bit less of a mousse texture. But I mean, I'm not sure what's keeping me from just going at this bowl right here, right now with the spoon. Manners, I suppose.
Manners. Are you going to share some of this with the girls tomorrow? Is this like lunch or is this Shabbat treat? What happens?
I'm not ashamed to say that I told them they could have it for breakfast because they were missing the class.
As you should. As you should.
Well,
it's my fault by asking you to move this to a later time, so it's part of Erev Shavuot.
No, this is good. This worked well.
Yeah, this is nice.
Okay. Fran, that looks great. Can you tell us that looks great?
That looks really good. Here,
One for everybody. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Leslie, what do you got over there? Hold it up, tilt it so that we can see. That looks really good as well. Is that chocolate in there?
Ooh.
Nice.
Perfect. Never a bad choice.
These are great. So, and Suzy, thanks for sending me the recipe. We're gonna make it tomorrow. We did blintzes with lemon zest tonight. So tomorrow's gonna be our cheesecake. Because I didn't want to get dirty before teaching right now.
I think I told you that my grandmother used to make savory cheese blintzes that I've never had anywhere else. And
yeah.
That
so what's this like onions and carrots? Like what was inside?
No, they were cheese. It was like cottage cheese and farmer's cheese, but I feel like some matzo meal, like a little bit went into the filling and they were very salt and peppery.
Interesting.
And then we ate them cold.
Yeah, I've seen blintzes cold before.
And they were square. They weren't like long rectangular. They were square and fat and really salty. They were good.
These don't sound great. You're not marketing them well.
I'm telling you, they were like my favorite food.
They were cold and salty and fat and they'd sit there. Please, tell me more, Chef Suzy. Tell me more.
Isn't it so surprising? I've never been able to find them anywhere.
I bet when I was in Poland, they had all types of like different blintzes, sweet, savory, hot, cold, everywhere. It was just like, that's just their food.
Yeah.
I bet you can find a Polish place. Anyways.
Maybe.
Okay.
I know. My brother is on mute and no camera, but I wonder if he remembers.
Who are we talking about?
My brother, Mike Isaac. He's slipped
Well, here,
in.
I just unmuted him, and I'm going to ask him. Go ahead, you can ask him now. He's unmuted.
Mikey, do you remember Bubby's not sweet blintzes?
That means he stepped away from the computer.
Yeah.
And he has no camera attached to his thing.
He gets credit for participating by logging in. It's okay.
Mazel tov to him. Okay, good. Chef Suzy, thank you so much. And to Fran and to Rhonda and Leslie, mazel to you guys as well, to everyone else on this. Chag Sameach. Happy Shavuot to all of you. I'm going to go jump over to the other Zoom to go teach Ruth at 7:30. So if you want to try and feel free, if not, enjoy your cheesecake. Hi guys,
Thank you for the
for everything.
background info about the milk and Very good.
Sure. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.
But these are good. It's all people that don't speak English. So Fernando's getting them all. Well, I mean, this guy's calling them directly anyway. He's not calling the office, but Fernando would be getting them even if he was calling the office. Whatever.
It's really funny though. Then something.
Every once in a while, we'll get someone who's like really gung-ho, like they get a good deal from us, they really like us, and they really want the money, and they'll just
Refer.
for a lot of people. And families, it's good. You know, a lot of times you'll have someone like refer your brother. It's like they're probably splitting the referral, but we don't care.
Yeah. What do you care what they do with their money after
Yeah.
that? You get the business,
I
or
don't
do you
care.
care?
I mean, it does matter a little from a business sense because we paid a lot more money
You
for
paid-
the referral than we paid for the initial person that knocked on the first brother's door.
Right. Yeah,
But it's also a much more solid appointment. Like we knew it wouldn't be a waste of
it's
time.
much more
That's
likely
why we pay
to.
more for it.
It's much more likely to result in
Well, we only pay him if it does, but
do you pay anything for one that doesn't result in a sale but results in an appointment?
no, because that's what I was just saying. People have given us like their whole phone
Oh,
book.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're like, I don't care about these fucking people. And you guys are really persuasive on the phone. Go ahead and set them up. And so, you know, they'll give
Yeah.
us like 12 numbers and like, we'll set one. But like, every once in a while, even on those, you get, right.
Even, I don't know what percentage $500 is of the average job, but if you just kept giving it away for no job, it would be, you know,
No, not 500. Right.
it
Yeah.
doesn't work, you know?
No, of course not. No, she's saying would they give anything for an
No, I
appointment, which
Result in a job.
we do not in that case. At one point, I think it was when I first started, we had a 500 deal. So like the person referring got 500 and the person signing got a $500 gift card for being like, because they were referred by an existing customer. That was a fun promotion. We made a lot of money then, or we made a lot of deals then. Probably ate into the profit. But signed a lot of deals.
You hear any more about who they're bringing back and when?
As it happens, I had one Connecticut guy that got brought back yesterday, but then when I called him, he said his wife actually needed to get a COVID test before he could come back because she might have been exposed. So he's waiting in the wings. I mean, they rehired him, I suppose, if you will, but he's just got to wait for her test before he can go out. Because he's old and doesn't want to do virtual appointments.
How old?
Oh, like
50.
No, like maybe 45.
I'm surprised.
I'm old by my company's
Yeah, that's
standards.
right,
Yeah,
He might not even be much older than I am. He's not old.
It surprises me.
He's got a 10-year-old.
What do they do with somebody like me? Old off the chart.
I mean,
Don't
yeah.
exist. Old enough to not exist.
Oh my God.
What?
No, well, you
No,
would.
I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying.
I mean,
if you have anybody.
Michael Ficara doesn't want to run virtual appointments because he feels like he's too old to do it at 45. You wouldn't be able to figure out how to use Salesforce well enough to do any, so it just wouldn't work. That's the real answer. It's not an age thing.
I have Salesforce. I haven't used it yet.
No, I mean, one of these guys we hired in Massachusetts that I talked to, he looks like he's probably about 50. He's bringing all this referral business, whatever. I don't know what he did before, but he drove all over. He said he put 40,000 miles a year on a car. So I don't know what he was doing, what he was selling, but something. No, I'm kidding about Fakara being old, really, but he doesn't want to do virtual appointments, and he's been on unemployment this whole time. So he's like, I'll just wait until my wife's COVID test comes
Yeah,
back.
well, it's not that motivated. Like they were talking today, Dad and I were watching this guy that we watch usually once a week. He's on Channel 12. They interview him. What is he? He's in economic development or something. Marty Cantor.
He was he's an accountant with some kind of economic consultant. Yeah.
So he's on once a week, and today they were asking him if your company offers you a job and you're on unemployment and the job is a penny less, or obviously a penny less than what you were making before, do you have to take it?
No,
Because of the way, these guys' commission works. Unemployment's not just based on like the last month, right? It's based on the last year.
Quarter. So
Quarter. So, there's no incentive for them to come back if they're going to earn less than they're getting on unemployment.
Right. But I was interested when he was
It's
asked that
fucked up.
question.
It's a little fucked up.
It is. Certainly, the federal subsidy made it way more attractive to lower earners. For a lower earner, it was unlikely that they'd make more on unemployment. They wouldn't make more on unemployment. They'd get half their salary.
If $600 a week is more than 55% of their take home, right? Isn't that how it works? Because you get 45%.
Well, the state is 504, but the federal subsidy is 600. You can get whatever you get from the state.
But isn't it a percentage from the state? Isn't it?
No,
45%?
flat $600.
No, that's the federal.
It's the
Oh,
federal.
that's the federal.
The federal is 600 a week for 16 weeks.
Right.
April, May, June, July,
Right,
which is $9,600.
right,
As long as you're getting Social Security during that period.
right.
Your unemployment is whatever it is, but the max you're going to get is 504.
Right, but isn't it a percentage of your
Yes.
previous salary?
It is.
45%, right?
It could be. I don't
Okay,
know.
I think it's 45%.
It could very
So
well
my
be.
point being, if you're getting 45%
Plus
plus
$600.
600,
Unless you're over. a
unless you're
certain
making,
salary.
right, unless you're
Even
making,
if you're getting 3 or 4, you're getting 9 or 12 a week, 9 or 1,000 a week for 16 weeks, and then 3 or 4 after that, up to 26 or 39 weeks.
Well,
after that is a lot less money. But
After
with the federal,
With
it's
the
like,
federal, the
lower,
federal was too generous.
lower earners are definitely disincentivized.
it just, I'm thinking about it. I mean, I think I talked to Dina yesterday, so I know she would come back in a heartbeat, but she's had trouble getting unemployment. But I'm thinking, like, why would someone on my team want to come back right now?
Why is she having
So
trouble
if they're
getting
still getting
unemployment?
that- if they're getting
She's
unemployment,
entitled,
they're
but she's just getting caught up in the bureaucracy.
She's gotten 2 weeks worth so far, and her last paycheck was the first week of April. So she's
I don't have
missing
Yeah.
I'm missing weeks.
7 weeks or whatever.
I'm missing 4 out of 9 weeks.
She's
You weren't
missing
waiting
most of
for
it.
to buy food.
Right, I'm not.
Now, I wasn't sure about her because she's an immigrant, but I guess if you have a green card and a work visa, you can get unemployment.
Yeah,
I mean, she's a legal employee.
Yeah.
right. If you're a legal employee,
They're paying unemployment insurance for her.
Yeah, I mean, she's allowed to legally work.
She's
So you get, I just wasn't sure how that worked. I thought so.
Yeah, the people who got really caught in.
But I'm getting it without anybody paying unemployment insurance for me.
Yeah,
Because
Which is
I'm
unusual.
self-employed, and that's a waiver they created with this thing.
right. That's temporary.
And they did that right away. The first time they announced anything, that was the
Yeah,
announcement.
I
was
just
the
don't, I've gotten 4 out of the 9.
people who were,
Which are not the first 4 or the last. It's random. What I'm missing is random.
Yeah, nobody tells me anything about who they're bringing back. I just see their name pop up, unless it's a sales rep, and then they tell me. But otherwise, I just see them reappear. They'll have to bring back permitting people now, because now,
The permit
gotta
they
do the
offer-
job.
as of today, the permit offices are open everywhere. We work pretty much except New York City. So even
And
Long
New York City, I
Island,
think it'll be next
even
week.
Long Island office is apparently opened up today.
De Blasio said something the other day that that's being open like by next week.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and that might be backlogged in a whole different way, but because that's DOB for the whole city, that might be a different situation. But the Long Island towns are releasing permits. I have to send my site assessor to Burlington, Massachusetts to pick up an electrical permit. Gotta get them in person.
Burlington, Mass?
Yeah.
Where's
I
that?
mean, he was there.
Where is that?
South of Boston.
Oh, I know where it is. I'm sorry. Remember I said to you the other day, I knew someone who got run over by their own car. Make sure you put the car, the handbrake, foot brake on. When you got out of the car to put something in the Kolnick's mailbox. And I said to you, be sure you put the brake on. I know someone who got run over by their own car. She lived in Burlington, Massachusetts.
But anyway, so I'm sending a site assessor tomorrow to pick up a permit from
You
town
say
hall
so.
there, which I was asked to do, which means whoever does permitting in Massachusetts is still furloughed. Because we don't send site assessors to pick up permits.
Right.
Typically. So I guess that person is still furloughed.
I guess I should be attending rabbi's
I don't even know
service
who
too,
does
but I'm not the service.
Probably because they probably just started.
Just tell Elise I finished that book. I could go down to the library.
One in Chappaqua. Permit in Chappaqua.
For what?
What?
You-
Oh,
Oh, for solar, yeah.
So, you say you can get
The
it?
town hall's open here. It's open by appointment. I think the town halls in Westchester County and city and town employees and whatever, it's open by appointment, meaning they're there they're there
I
working.
would think they might issue. a permit.
Our permitting people have to go in person most.
No, I mean with the shop.
Yeah.
I don't mean.
Well, but what what are you issuing a permit for? You can't do the work anyway in the shutdown.
No, but.
I mean, I guess you can once construction's allowed again, but prior to phase one reopening, what are you issuing a permit for? You're not allowed to do the work. I mean, some construction was exempted, but that wouldn't have been. But the Mass towns are releasing them, and apparently Long Island today said, come get them.
Maybe I'll run down to the library now and return that book because it's only 7:30, not 8:30, right? I don't want to go when they're open because everybody has appointments to go and pick up their books. So I don't want to get caught in I don't want to
I
have
don't
to.
think it'll be too busy there.
It has been.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
No, but at 8 o'clock, right?
No, now it's not. I'm saying I don't want to go tomorrow during the day. People are supposed to pull up in that circle for their spots, and you're supposed to be staying away from people. So I don't think the right thing to do would be go in there, whatchamacallit, tomorrow when they're open. It might as well go when they're not open. There's a lot of hours when they're not open.
Yeah.
I could do it now. I could do it. It's not due till Monday, but I Elise was concerned about getting it back.
They charge late fees now.
They weren't. Well, they waived them for the entire thing. But when Elise gave me the book, she was like very insistent that it was due Monday. First, she wanted to give it to me. I said, well, I'll read it in time or I'll return it. No problem. Otherwise, I would have given Beverly Dubs the 25 cents,
Right.
if it was late. I mean, I would have.
These onions, dump them in the spaghetti? No.
Yeah, you could put them in. It's in the refrigerator in the container. You have to find the right container, but. So Elise was insistent that it be returned on Monday, and I said to her, they haven't been collecting fees, and all they said now was that you can drop books off. They didn't say you need to drop books off. They have, I was watching a video they produced this morning. They sent out a video. They sent out their, new hours and restrictions and this, that, and the other thing for the outside curbside checkout. But they also sent a little video of how it's working and showed the inside of the library
which is piled and piled and piled all over with stacks of books that were returned over the more than 2 months that they were closed. But they said that the Westchester Library Systems isn't sending their trucks from place to place. So right now they can't get their own books back, and they can't return books that are from all the other libraries. Well, I had a plan. I was going to finish that book, and I did. I was going to go food shopping, and I did.